War never change it. Was that this or Fallout?
No, you're thinking Metal Gear Solid 4. War has changed.
War did done change.
And it done changed again.
Done changed it again twice. 2 times up on it. This
That's right.
is this is Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. I am speaking about this game now to you on the internet with my friend Dave Tach. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Griffin. Do you have your sneaking suit on?
I have actually my very loud suit on.
Oh,
It's made of bells and pots,
that's not good.
and there's two boom boxes, and they're just blasting CNC Music Factory.
That is good.
That is actually a great jam. Ground Zeroes, boy howdy, have we tried to do this video already a couple times. It's an incredibly difficult game to talk about. I should point out that we're watching a pre-recorded run-through that I did, because it's so difficult to talk about that when you layer, like, trying not to get shot in the teeth on top of that discussion, like, it just don't work.
Plus, this game has the hottest teeth shots of
It
any game.
has a lot of really great tee shots. Actually, that would probably go to Rambo the video game. I don't know if you watched that video, but man, some primo headshots in that one. Anyway, Ground Zeroes. I don't want to get in the sort of quagmire of talking about whether the game is worth the price of admission. It's $30 on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and I think a $20 download on PS3 and 360. I'm not sure what the retail prices are for those four versions. This guy has seen me. Hopefully, I can trank him. Takes a few tranks, but you get the
Look,
job
get him in
done.
the head, yo.
And for that price, you basically get what amounts to a single level campaign, like the main story mission, which is what I'm playing through in this video, and a few sort of like sub missions, sort of reminiscent of those VR missions that is set in the same level, just with different sort of objectives. And there's a lot of different unlocks. There's a lot of different, like, time trials and stuff like that you can go for. So it has a lot of replayability, but man, I give this guy a lot of extra shots to the dome. This dude's gonna have some really weird dreams. That dude is tripping balls right now. So I think a lot of the discussion is, like, what do we label this thing? What do we call it? Because, like, the main sort of campaign, which is what you expect from a Metal Gear Solid game, if you want to call it a game, is very, very, very insubstantial. It's over before you know it. And even though, like, a lot of the stuff here is good, like, a lot of the changes that they've made to the Metal Gear formula are really good, I don't know, it's weird to play something that is simultaneously good and grossly unsatisfying. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
There's a lot of interesting stuff, but there's not a lot of the interesting stuff.
right. A lot of the discussion has been like, well, how come you guys like Gone Home? It's short too. I really do think it comes down to, like, labeling and expectation. Like, you expect a Metal Gear Solid game to be like, there is no franchise that is known more for long-winded storytelling than this franchise. So to, like, have such a compact experience from it, I don't know. It was more than a little bit off-putting, and I'm not really sure. I mean, it does definitely tell a story. It has a beginning, middle, and a definite cliffhanger ending, but it's hard not to feel like it is just. Your mileage is definitely going to vary. For me, it hit me like they just took the first level of the game, cut it off, and then sold it for $30.
Right.
I'm not saying that it's all bad. I'm just saying that that's sort of how it hit me, and I definitely get some of the disappointment in the game.
Sure, and the difference between something like this and Gone Home is that Gone Home is done. When you finish, that's the end of it. And you're really, like you said, just sort of looking at one mission in a much larger game that isn't out yet.
I've seen also some people, like, sort of compare it to the episodic model, like the Walking Dead games or any of Telltale's titles. But, like, again, if you start talking about that, then you start talking about, well, like, if those cost $30 per episode, like, that would be pretty crazy. Like, I think the reason I was so disappointed by it is because I really, really liked it. Like, I really liked playing it. I liked where the story was going. Kiefer Sutherland's the new Snake. I think he does a great job. It follows up on the story of Peace Walker, which I admittedly did not finish. But there's a nice sort of catch-up pamphlet that they give you.
Delicious.
Delicious catch up that sort of catches you up on where the story is and what you're doing in this mission. I got into this story. The cliffhanger ending is like crazy, and I definitely like wanted to see what happens next. And then it just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of stops.
That was that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about. I think it would be a good idea to talk about what's different about this Metal Gear game as opposed to the others.
First off, it looks absolutely phenomenal. This is on Xbox One, and I captured this with our Elgato card, which isn't like ideal for showing off top of the line stuff like this. It's one of the best looking things I've ever seen. This area is really cool. You can see like the water glistening off Snake's back. This is the reflex system. It's super cool. You can see like the raindrops moving in slow motion, and you get like 2 seconds to headshot a guy before he alerts his guard, his fellow guardsman. Like,
I downloaded it on PS4, and it also looks incredible.
Yeah. You can see like the canvas whipping around in the wind. You can see me get spotted by this guard, and then I do a very terrible job at killing him fast enough.
By the way, unlocking, picking locks in this game is the greatest lockpick mechanic ever.
Because you just press a button.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah. Coming off Thief, where it's like, rotate the left stick 800 times throughout your first game. It moves a lot faster. You can see Snake now, like, really hauling ass. You have a lot more options. I would say it's a lot more action-oriented. You have more options when you get spotted than just, like, kill that guy and then go hide. Even though that is exactly what I do in this situation. I killed that guy and then ran away to hide. The reflex system's really great in that, like, if you just turn a corner and you weren't careful enough and a guy sees you, you get a few seconds of slow motion where you can shoot him, and then it won't set off the... That's my impression of the alert noise. You also have this binocular, or you can use your iron sights, and if you look at an enemy long enough, you will highlight them, and then they will show up permanently on your HUD and on the mini-map. Well, not a mini-map, because it's not.
The mini-map doesn't appear on the screen. It's an item you have to take out and look at.
And it doesn't pause the game when you're looking at it, which I think is really smart, because you have to like find these situations where you can get sort of hid? Yeah, sure.
Right.
And then check it out. Your map is called the iDroid, which is like the most distracting thing in the game so far.
It's neat, but not 1975 neat.
Well, I mean, it's also like a portmanteau of the two made. Like, what if they call it like, I don't know, Nokia droid or something?
Right. It's. I haven't actually finished it, but I've played.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, I know. I was tired.
Here's what's messed up. I really kind of took my time through my first playthrough of it. Basically, your mission is to extract these two people. I won't go into it, even though I'm going to run into one of them here in a second and sort of give it away. By the way, if you're watching this and you are even remotely interested in playing this, stop watching it, because seriously, I played through a little over half of the mission. There's not a lot there, so like don't sully the one run through that you're gonna have of the game watching this video. So there's my disclaimer.
Yeah, but having played what I played of it, it's definitely a Metal Gear game, but it's different. Movement's got to be the biggest thing.
It's a lot faster. There's no
more mobile. There's a click the stick to run button, which works for this game, but it's not a super Metal Gear, sort of half standing up or automatic run.
Yeah, what's weird to me is like they added a lot of stuff like that. They added like the blood splatter on the screen to let you know you've been hurt and go hide somewhere for a while and your health will regenerate. They added like a lot of stuff like that is sort of either borrowed from other action-y franchises, even like shooter franchises, or just like new stuff altogether. But it still manages to feel like a Metal Gear Solid game. Like, you can definitely play through it in, like, not killing anybody and hiding. Sometimes a young boy gives you trouble, and you have to CQC him in the throat until he goes to Sleepy Town. And then
you gotta do what you gotta do.
And then you take his frail, napping form to the extraction point.
That's super nice of you.
This is upsetting.
Well, I think another part of that sort of action-y focus or that run is that it's a different sort of map than you got in Metal Gears before.
Yeah.
That whole, Kojima kept talking about how it's an open world game, and I never quite understood what that meant until I played it and realized that I wasn't basically walking down, hallways or jungle pathways to these little open areas. Like, they just set you down And
Yeah.
here's this whole big map, and when you're open like that, and you can't rely on necessarily a reliable cover
Yeah. I
all the time, you need to be more mobile. You need to be able to move. You need to be able to do new things.
I got bored with that cutscene apparently.
Bye.
So like, yeah, the map is a decent size, which is good because it's all you got. You can play. I've actually played through it. I actually haven't finished a second playthrough, but I mean we've done this video so many times now.
34 times.
Yeah, that I've tried it, and there really are like a lot of different ways that you can go about completing the mission. There's like a base that you have to like properly infiltrate later. There's a lot of ways you can do that. You can just shoot your way into it. There's a drain pipe you can find to climb your way in. There's a truck you can get in that will drive you into the. Like you have a lot of options. There's a lot of hidden like weapons and patches, like hidden patches that you can find, and cassette tapes that you can find. There's like a lot of stuff scattered throughout the world, and there's a really great system of like you can capture enemies and interrogate them, and they'll sort of highlight that stuff on the map for you. There's a lot of really cool stuff, and I've spent a lot of time like looking around trying to find that, even though my completion percentage for the game is pretty low, just because I haven't gone after a lot of the trials or anything like that. But it's a very compelling thing. There definitely is a lot of stuff that you can do with the game. Just don't sort of expect a thorough. Man, I got really bored with the cutscenes in this run. Don't expect like a thorough story because there just isn't one.
Right, like you said earlier, what series is known for bigger, grander, sometimes crazier stories?
Oh, check this out! I'm about to murk this rat. Later. Boom! Just vanishes.
Goodbye. What series is known for bigger stories, and what you get here in the Ground Zeroes experiment is a sliver of this grand Kojima story.
I've seen a lot of people compare it to the tanker, to the tanker level, which I guess is appropriate. Like that was sort of the prologue to Metal Gear Solid 2. But wasn't that like given out as a demo? Wasn't that in a demo
it was on a disc
for Zone of the Enders, wasn't it?
I think that was it.
So like that's not exactly a great comparison because that was, I mean, I guess you had to pay whatever $50-$60 for Zone of the Enders.
Right.
And I think a lot of people probably did that just for the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo. So I don't know, maybe this is a better value proposition than that. There's a lot of really cool stuff. I hate the conversation of how much time did I spend with the game being like a end all be all critical evaluation. I think that's gross, and I think it sucks because like I've spent 50 hours with Dark Souls 2 and I loved it, and I spent 2 hours with Gone Home and I loved it. I spent 2 hours with Portal and I loved it. I just played the latest Walking Dead episode. It was like one of the best things I played this year so far. And I knocked that one out in probably like an hour and a half. Like there is no. It is a very, very small part of the equation.
It's super subjective. I can say that word.
You're really good at saying a lot of words.
Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, I think like you said earlier, again, your mileage may vary. I'm sure there's going to be folks who are perfectly happy with this, and then there are obviously folks who think there is not enough for what you. Oh boy, oh boy.
I had some fun with this playthrough.
It's hard to argue against either of those things because if you didn't enjoy, if this hour gameplay,
this became my new favorite game was Cactus Wrestler.
But if the hour that you spend here, or the couple hours, or whatever that you spend here, doesn't feel super dense to you, then I can understand why you wouldn't like it. If you think, oh, thank God, after 7 years, I finally get more Metal Gear. And
6 years.
Beautiful and crazy.
I get 6 years from Metal Gear Solid 4, right? Because it came out in 2008, which is bonkers, which is banana cakes. I agree with you. I almost always try to. I didn't review this game, but whenever I do review games, I try to take out the time to money ratio out of it because I think that's a really crummy way to look at games. As like, if you'll forgive like. How dumb this is gonna sound. Like you think of it like a work rather than like a product or a distraction. But with this particular game, like, it's really hard not to feel like it is just sort of a crass, like, you just cut the first level off your game and then sold it to me as a separate thing.
No.
And regardless of, like,
and-
how promising it is and how much, like, it is making me look forward to Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, which I guess is, like, the whole idea, regardless of, like, how much I have enjoyed, like, sort of the changes and the ideas and how much I will enjoy them, it's really, really hard to divorce myself from the fact that I feel like I just got Be Sure to Drink Your Ovaltine, you know?
Sure. Right. That's, and it seems to have been the plan all along to release it like this. Because I remember when the first, we were at PAX, me and Mike McWhorter, and we saw the sort of North American gameplay reveal, and it was this stuff.
Was that when they were doing all, like, the white whale? What was it? The bullshit where they
It was before that. That was that was at VGA's, right?
Yeah.
Where you're talking about, like, who's making this game or what is this?
Yeah.
Some Swedish developer, right?
That was
But,
the
like,
worst.
at the time and for a while afterwards, it was not clear what the difference between Ground Zero.
I remember that, yeah.
And what's the other
Phantom
one?
Pain.
Thank you, sorry. What the heck Phantom Pain is. And my point is that it sounds like this was the plan all along, except, I called it an experiment earlier.
That is what it is. That's definitely, because there is no
I can't think of
word for what this thing is, which is why it's so difficult to talk about. If it's a game, it's a terrible game because, like, it's so unbelievably insubstantial. If it's a demo, fine, but they're charging a lot of money for it, so
Exactly.
you can't really call it that. I guess we call it like a prologue, which is, I guess, the most accurate thing you can call it. It really is something that, and I can't think of any time anybody's ever tried this before.
Right.
And I can, like, I guess I understand why there's a lot of people saying, like, if you buy this game, then you are sort of complicit with this business model if it becomes something that other people do. I would hate for this to become a trend because I like I said, like, I think it's kind of crass. But I mean, Mark's gonna do what Mark's gonna do, you know?
Yep. Sneak. By gonna do, you mean just, like, sneak around and shoot dudes?
Sneak around and shoot dudes.
Yeah.
It's fun to sneak around and shoot dudes. I don't cover any of the extra missions in this. This is just a sort of a walkthrough of the main one. But they're pretty fun. They're pretty they're entertaining enough. There's a really great Easter egg in one of them that I won't ruin for you, but if you have played the game and just sort of stopped after the main mission, it's definitely worth checking those out because there's a moment that is one of the most unbelievable things I've seen in a Metal Gear game before, which is, like, saying something.
It certainly is. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's going to be fun to figure. It's going to be fun to watch and see what they do, what the reaction is, how they decide to do this, if other people decide to do this, because it is, I mean, admittedly weird.
I don't know if fun is the right word. I don't know. It bums me out when the main discussion that people have about a game is whether it's worth the money. Just because, like, when you get into that conversation, it sort of betrays the other conversation you could have about the game, which is, like, what's new, what's interesting, what are the good ideas? And there's, like, a lot of good ideas here.
Yeah, there's a button in this game where you just fall on your belly.
Yeah,
That's a pretty new idea.
There's a fall on your belly button. You can CQC dudes and then puncture them like one might puncture a pouch of Capri Sun. That's pretty great. I hope I actually do it up here because it's horrifying and somewhat entertaining.
Yeah.
There's some really cool stuff that happens. There's some really genuinely good storytelling. It's just like,
Yeah, just knowing that this is such a small part of a bigger game makes it weird.
yeah, and a little frustrating. I was frustrated. I would be curious to see. I wish you had finished it. I wish you'd put in the extra 30 minutes to finish it because I really do think your own personal evaluation of what the game is going to boil down to when you see cut to black. This was a Hideo Kojima jam. Thanks for playing. Hope you enjoyed it. What your like gut reaction is going to be.
And yours boil down to that's it?
Yeah.
Or
That was literally like really? Like,
Okay.
that sucks. Truth be told, like, I've played it a couple more hours after that, just doing those extra missions and trying to do this GD video with you.
Did you have any less fun? Was it still fun to replay? Like, because
the other missions are totally different things. It's not. I mean, it is set in this level. It's set in like different times of day with different weather. There's one where you're in a helicopter for most of the mission, just sort of like trying to take out vehicles and soldiers and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of variety to it. Uh-oh. Good. Reload your weapon then. That was a great time to do that. There's a lot of variety to that stuff. There's a lot of replayability, like, no joke. There's a lot, if you want to spend a few hours with it past the story, like, you definitely can. There's definitely going to be people who, the Rest Frushtics of the world, who are going to, like, try and get, like, every achievement by, like, finishing all the trials and finding all the badges and doing all that stuff. And if that's your jam, like, you're definitely going to be able to do that.
It's there if you want it.
We've said it like 3 times already, but like the idea of your mileage may vary. I cannot think of an instance where that is more true. So, this is Ground Zeroes. Thank you everybody for watching. I could swear I did that Capri Sun maneuver at some point, but I'm probably not going to do it while I have this woman on my back. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll have one more video up this week. We're doing Infamous, which I'm super excited for. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Dave, thank you for being here with me again.
Thank you for inviting me again.
I want to thank this dude, who I'm almost certain is the dude I give the old pouch punch to. Wait. Oh! Thanks for the intel, my man. I hope you're full of berry punch. A juice. It's horrifying. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.